Welcome, prayer warriors, to the PG of 7 lesson series. My name is Grace, and today we're exploring something foundational, both spiritually and energetically, and that is the spirit in man. In our last lesson, we learned the foundations of prayer and why your prayers have the power to bring heaven into ourselves and to our homes and cities. In this lesson, we will go one level deeper. We will dive into the bioenergetic nature of that power itself. To understand this, we must understand what man is. More specifically, what the spirit in man is. To begin, let's refer once again to Mr. Chris Nolan.
God made mankind in His image. That means we carry the Spirit of God within us. So when battles seem too big, when despair creeps in, or when temptation is bearing down on us, we don't need to shrink back, for we know that God's power is within us, is part of us, and His power and grace is greater than all evil. That is not poetic language. It is a literal statement of reality. God is spirit, eternal, formless, and unlimited. And when He made man in His image, He made him the same way, as spirit. Man is spirit placed within a body. That spirit is not symbolic. It is real. It is active. It is energy. And it is intelligent, because it came directly from God. It is the part of us designed for relationship with Him. Don't think that it's your body that prays, nor your voice, and not even your thoughts. It is the spirit that communes with God, because it comes from God and carries His imprint. That is why the spirit within man is sacred, even though it is not fully seen nor fully understood. It is real. It is responsive, dynamic, and alive. Like all living things, the spirit must be supported. And like all powerful forces, it expresses itself energetically. This is why the Bible describes it as being breathed into man by God. Not installed, not constructed, not grown, but breathed. Transferred as a living, intelligent force. So yes, man's spirit moves, it engages, it responds to God. But without energetic support, without strength in the vessel that carries it, the spirit can become obscured, diminished, or faint. The more we understand that relationship, the more clearly we see why we must protect it.
Mr. Nolan clearly reminds us that man is a spirit, made in the likeness of God. And by a divine design, the spirit is living energy. And it is that spirit, your inner energy, that carries God through you here on earth. But for that spiritual energy to be expressed in the physical world, it must be held, carried, empowered, protected, and projected. That carrier, that living expression of your inner spirit, is referred to as your bioelectromagnetic energies, saying that you are essentially an electric being. All this bioenergetic energy creates a field that surrounds you. It moves through you and responds to both spiritual and physical influence. It's how your prayers carry weight. It's how your authority extends beyond just your voice or your thoughts. And most importantly, it's why protecting and supporting that field matters so deeply. To help us understand how this spirit energy operates within the body and how we can support it, we're going to listen to a short recorded seminar given by one of the co-founders of the bioenergetic technologies that you will use in achieving the PG of 7 mission. He and his brother spent decades developing energy-based systems that don't just sound good in theory. They've been tested, measured, and used in clinical, wellness, and real-world settings around the globe. Their work has helped millions to restore energetic balance in their bodies and support the natural function of the human spirit. He's going to help us explore how your spirit and its energy relate to the bioenergetic field of your body and why that matters for your mission as a prayer warrior. Let's begin.
The Spirit is real, that much we know by faith. But if the Spirit is truly active and alive within us, then wouldn't there be signs of its presence? Wouldn't there be something tangible, measurable, and consistent that reflects its function in the physical world? Of course there is. Science has shown that every human being is surrounded by a field of energy, an energetic signature that is produced by all the molecules, cells, organs, muscles, and systems of the body working together. This field has been observed for decades in clinics, labs, and hospitals around the world. It is measurable, it is photographable, it is responsive to thought, emotion, and environment. This is not theoretical. It is a physiological fact. This energy field is often called the biofield and is a real and dynamic energy force that serves as the bridge between the body and the spirit. It doesn't float outside of us. It's not separate. It is woven into every function in the body: nervous, immune, circulatory, respiratory, cellular communication, growth, and regeneration. The biofield transmits and receives signals. It moves, regulates, and stores information. It is an integral part of human physiology. And when the biofield is strong and stable, it acts like a conductor, bringing body and mind into harmony so the spirit can operate as part of a single responsive whole. The biofield may be invisible, but it is not disconnected. The order and clarity of the biofield reveals itself in the condition of the body, whether the body is calm or chaotic, coherent or confused, strong or struggling, vibrant or depleted. That's where the real understanding begins.
Let's pause for a moment. You've just heard something profound. The biofield isn't a halo or a bright field. It's a real physiological part of you. It is a field of energy generated by your body that in turn helps organize your systems, strengthen your well-being, stabilize your mind. A strong, healthy body creates a strong and stable biofield. That biofield in turn supports and empowers the body, giving it clarity, strength, and resilience. So, when we talk about strengthening your biofield, we're not just improving energy, we're restoring your full capacity to think clearly, feel deeply, and pray powerfully. It's all connected. Let's continue.
The biofield is not hypothetical. It's a real and active part of human physiology. It's generated by the electrical and vibrational activity of your heart, brain, muscles, and every cell. But it's more than just a byproduct of biological function. It's also what helps regulate it. The body creates the biofield, and the biofield helps direct the body. Without this energetic field, the systems of the body wouldn't know how to communicate. The immune system wouldn't know where to fight. The nervous system wouldn't know when to rest. Tissue couldn't repair, cells couldn't organize, and growth couldn't happen effectively. It's the biofield that helps guide and coordinate everything from healing and recovery to emotional regulation and immune response. It carries information, it delivers instructions, and it does this in real time.
We've measured this field using well-established tools like EEG, EKG, HRV, GDV imaging, and we've seen how disruptions in the field correspond to disruptions in well-being, and how strengthening the field leads to greater coherence, clarity, and resilience.
This relationship is not one way, it's perpetual. The body supports the field supports the body. One cannot thrive without the other. And at the origin of it all is the spirit, the breath of life, the divine spark that ignites both body and field into motion. From my experience, I believe it may go even further. There are moments, especially during deep prayer, focused intention, or acts of compassion. When what we see in the field goes beyond the typical electrical or physiological patterns. It doesn't just react, it responds. The energy appears organized, purposeful, like it's being directed from somewhere deeper within the person, not just from the brain or the heart, but from the core of their being. I'll leave the spiritual implications to those called to teach that space, but after measuring thousands of biofields across the world, I can say this with confidence. When a person is grounded, clear, and engaged in meaningful, intentional action, something happens. The field stabilizes, it aligns, it strengthens, it becomes radiant, and so does the person. That's not a theory, that's the data.
Let's pause here for a moment. What you just heard was not opinion. It wasn't speculation or theory. It was verified, observable scientific fact. Every person generates a biofield, an energetic field that doesn't just surround the body, it helps guide it. It's active, intelligent, and responsive, and it plays a vital role in how we function, heal, and connect. Did you notice how he described it? The body creates the field supports the body, and at the center of it all is the spirit, the divine spark that God breathed into us. It's a full circle of life-giving energy. And then came the key observation. When a person is grounded, clear, and engaged in meaningful, intentional action, the field doesn't just react, it becomes radiant. It organizes, it stabilizes, it strengthens. Prayer warriors, that's your assignment. When you pray, not casually, not fearfully, but with faith and focus, your entire being comes into alignment. Chaos fades, the interference quiets, and your body, your mind, and your spirit operate in harmony. That's not just spiritual insight, that's measurable reality. What the co-founder described as alignment and coherence, we know as divine order. And what science calls intentional action, we know as prayer. And the effect? Strength, clarity, peace, power. Now let's understand what weakens that field and what you've been battling without even realizing it.
In over 4 decades of research and field testing, one thing has become unmistakably clear. The human biofield is not operating at full strength. Not once have we seen a person whose bioenergetics were truly optimal. Not one. And that alone should give us pause. Because across the board, regardless of age, lifestyle, or background, we see the same signs of energetic breakdown. There's fragmentation, disorganization, and weakness in the field, especially around the nervous system, immune system, and the regions responsible for cell-to-cell communication and emotional regulation. Now, the symptoms show up differently in different people, but when we look closely, the same patterns emerge over and over again. There were 3 major contributors that we trace this disruption back to. The first is EMF exposure. We're constantly surrounded by wireless signals like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 5G, and the low-level electrical noise from our devices and living spaces. These artificial fields interfere with the body's natural signaling, throwing off the rhythm and integrity of the biofield. The second is emotional trauma. Not just the big life-changing events, but the chronic stress, anxiety, fear, loneliness, and uncertainty so many people carry every day. Those emotions create their own energetic imprint, introducing chaos into the body's electromagnetic output. And in many cases, we found that emotional disruption does more damage to the field than EMFs ever could. The third is physiological burden. Everything from toxicity, chemical exposure, poor hydration, and lack of movement to nutrient depletion and addiction. These factors drain the body's cellular charge, the very energy that powers and maintains the biofield itself. Any one of these stressors can cause serious disruption. But most people today aren't just dealing with one, they're dealing with all of them all the time. And over the years, the field wears down. When we scan these individuals, we don't see resilience, we see collapse. The field loses shape, it weakens, it shrinks. Waveforms interfere with one another, gaps and distortions appear. And people feel it. They don't just feel tired, they feel like their energy disappears by midday. They're not just moody, they feel emotionally reactive and don't always know why. Their sleep is shallow, their thinking is clouded, they get sick more often and bounce back more slowly. Their bodies age faster than they should. Their faces look older than they feel. And even when they try to change to get healthier or more balanced, something inside just won't click into place. They start reaching for whatever might help. More coffee, another pill, a distraction, something to bring them back to center, but it never quite works. And deep beneath all of that, something even more painful begins to happen. They start to lose touch with the part of themselves that once felt grounded. The part that held faith, the part that carried peace, the part that moved with purpose. They don't know why they feel off, why they're tired, why they're angry, why they're anxious. And so they accept it. They adjust to it. They assume this must be what life feels like, but it's not. What they're experiencing is not just life, it's life disconnected from the energy that once made it whole.
Let's pause a moment. You just heard the co-founder explain what happens when the biofield breaks down, when it weakens under pressure and can't carry the energy it was meant to hold. And the truth is, that's what most people are living with every day. Maybe you thought it was just aging, just stress, just life. But now you know it's deeper than that. Prayer warrior, hear this. When the biofield is disrupted, we feel it. In our energy, our focus, our emotions. We get tired faster, recover slower, and feel like something inside us just isn't working right. And over time, something more painful happens. We start to feel disconnected from our purpose, from our peace, even from God. Not because we stopped believing, but because the signal inside us has been weakened by years of interference. This is why prayer sometimes feels harder than it should, why clarity seems out of reach, why purpose burns in your heart but feels stuck in your body. But now you don't have to wonder, and more importantly, you don't have to stay in that state. There's a solution, and this may be the moment it all begins to change. Let's talk about how to clear the field, and finally pray the way your spirit was meant to.
This technology was never about controlling the body. It was built to support it, to restore what the world has tried to take. We didn't create it with electricity. We didn't rely on synthetic frequencies, and we didn't build it using guesswork. We built it from real biological data. Every organ system, every cell, even your DNA, produces a rhythmic waveform, a sine wave carrying specific information. That information is what tells the body what to do, when to repair, how to regulate, where to focus energy. We measured those signals across the body, isolated their harmonic patterns, and built a composite waveform that mirrors what health and coherence truly look like, bioenergetically. That's the foundation of this technology. It delivers a stable, biologically harmonious pattern. This pattern was developed using real human data gathered from decades of observation and measurement. It is not based on computer-generated frequencies or artificial electrical inputs. The pattern is carried using natural waveforms already present in our environment. These include sources like light, motion, and sound, along with the ambient electromagnetic fields we live in every day. When the technology is placed near the body, its embedded pattern enters the biofield. As the two interact, the unstable field begins to align itself with the stable pattern. This process, known as resonance entrainment, brings the chaotic field into sync with the coherent signal. The result is immediate and observable. Coherence begins to return, the field stabilizes, and the body starts to respond physically, mentally, and emotionally. We've seen this firsthand in thousands of tests on every continent, across every age group. We've seen the field grow stronger, more symmetrical, and more resilient. We've watched people regain energy, emotional clarity, mental focus, and physical balance, often within minutes of exposure. And these aren't rare occurrences. They are repeatable outcomes. This is not theory. This is what the data shows. When the biofield is supported, the body responds. And when the body and biofield are stable, something deeper within the person comes forward. That's the opportunity this technology provides. To restore what was weakened, to stabilize what has been overwhelmed, and to protect what's most essential to who we are.
Let's pause for a moment. You've just heard how it works, clearly, directly, and backed by decades of real-world use. This isn't a theory, it's a proven technology developed to restore what gets disrupted in the biofield and support what matters most, your well-being and your ability to stay connected. You've now seen the reasons behind the struggle. You understand what weakens the field, the constant EMFs, emotional stress, environmental overload, and how that directly affects how you feel, think, move, and respond. And you've heard what happens when the field is supported. Clarity returns. Energy stabilizes. The body responds better. The mind calms. Emotions level out. You just feel like yourself again. That's what this technology is made for. And as a prayer warrior, it's already been integrated into your tools, because for you, it's not just about personal benefit. It's about being equipped for the mission. You'll find it in your 4-in-1 quantum receiver. You'll take it in through the Of Him vibrational water. You'll activate it each day with your daily prayer. These are not separate parts. They're one system, working together to stabilize your biofield, support your body, and strengthen your ability to carry out your calling with more clarity and less interference. Here's what that looks like when it's working. Your thinking gets clearer. You don't crash midday. You rest better, wake up refreshed. Your mood is more stable. You respond instead of reacting. Your body feels lighter, more balanced. You stop reaching for quick fixes just to make it through the day. And most importantly, you feel connected again, clear, present, fully available for what matters. You'll notice it in your body, you'll notice it in your prayers, because when your biofield is strong, the rest of you follows. Let's continue.
I've spent over 40 years studying how energy flows to the body and what happens when it doesn't. One truth has become clear. We are more than biology. We are spirit. And the biofield, the energy that surrounds and sustains us, is essential to both. It's not just a signal of life. It's a system that carries order, stability, and in my view, creates a capacity to connect with something higher. I believe the human spirit was designed by God to carry His presence and purpose, but when the field supporting it is weak or unstable, that connection struggles to come through. That's why we built this technology, not just to restore function, but to clear interference and help people reconnect with who they truly are. Because when the field stabilizes, everything changes. The mind clears, the body resets, prayer flows again. And I believe that when the spirit and biofield align, prayer becomes more than words. It becomes power.
Prayer warrior. Now you see why this was placed in your hands. What you just heard, it wasn't marketing. It wasn't hype. It was the heart behind what you've been given. This technology wasn't built to impress. It was shaped through years of real work, hard-won insight, and a calling to help people feel whole again and reawaken the spirit in a world that's dulled it down. This isn't just another good idea. This is a mission. You are one of 144,000, not randomly chosen, but called because you feel it. You know you're meant to pray with authority. You know heaven still moves, and you're ready to be part of that movement. Now you have the support you need to do it, fully, clearly, and without interference. When your field is strong, your spirit is steady, and when your spirit is steady, your prayers carry weight. That's how God moves, through people who are aligned, aware, and ready. We want to thank the technology co-founder, not just for sharing his knowledge with us today, but for their decades of faithful, quiet work behind the scenes, making all of this possible. And now, as we close, Reverend Vince Enoch will lead us in a prayer of strength and alignment.
Heavenly Father, thank you for the spirit you placed within us, alive, active, and made in your image. Thank you for giving us a body to carry it and a field to protect it. Today, we ask for renewal. Strengthen what's been weakened, restore what's been disrupted. Realign us to walk in clarity, energy, and purpose. Let this technology serve not as a substitute for faith, but as a support to the vessel that carries it. May every prayer warrior rise with new strength, with body, field, and spirit united, ready to pray with power and purpose. We receive it with gratitude and we move forward in your name. Amen.